Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, GAMER-CAST. And of course, the GAMER-CAST is where we talk about all things going on in video games. So we're talking about hardware, software, all the inside scoops, all the gossip, all that fun stuff. And of course, I am Mo Coupe, your resident fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'm joined by my good friend who's an anime enthusiast, a lover of all things superhero, and most important, he's the most knowledgeable person about video games that I personally know. That, of course, is LADI. LADI, how you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Ready to talk about this news. Just got done actually playing the Ghost of Tsushima.
Is it? That got didn't that get like a update or something like that?
Yeah, the PS5 update, and well, the PS4 also got like a big, because they added this new expansion where basically the first part of the game was really long. They basically added an island that is equal to the size of the first part of the game, of the original game. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I had heard about that. Now, you know me, I'm always a generation behind, so I have not even gotten close to that game, but I did hear about that. So, but today on the Supercast, we are going to, we got like quite a few things to talk about. So we're going to talk about PS5 Pro and Xbox Series Z rumors. Just some rumors flying around about these potential updates to the current generation systems. We're also going to talk about the Intel Arc graphics cards and what they could mean for the graphics cards, marketplace, the race towards better graphics. Then we're going to dig into a little, this is real insider baseball, but for you tech nerds, all you developers, talking about the need for a new game engine. Is there a need for a new game engine for the games industry? And then something really fun with the GAMER-CAST. So we are big fans of Sonic around here, and I stumbled across a Sonic Riders fan remake that's got a demo out right now. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And finally, like the big item for the week is talking about Game Pass and its impact on developers, in particular indie developers, and what does it mean for the future of gaming. So we're going to get into all of that, and we're going to start off. Let's go. PS5 Pro and Xbox Series Z rumors. I didn't realize we needed an update on systems that are only a year old. I always figured that systems they start talking about these upgraded Pro versions of consoles like 3 or 4 years in, but no, just 1 year in we're talking about it. So I'm ignorant of this completely. So LADI, just let me know, what's this all about?
Honestly, this was just something that just came across my feed just a couple of days ago, honestly. Because from everything that I've heard, Sony does not want to make a PS5 Pro, but they're sort of being forced into it by two circumstances. One, Microsoft, because you already know Microsoft pretty much told you when the Xbox first came out that, this generation Xbox comes out, they're going to make a Pro version. Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X. Obviously, they probably are going to make an Xbox Series Z, their more powerful version of this generation of console. So Sony is most likely being forced into it because of Microsoft. Microsoft is going to make an Xbox Series Z, and Sony doesn't want to be too far behind because it's all, it's a whole console war. You don't want to have a console that is too much weaker than your competitor. And then plus Sony also sort of has to upgrade to the PS5 Pro because Sony is planning to do some really mad lad things in the very future. And we've talked about this with the Nintendo the Nintendo Switch, why they need to make a Switch Pro. Because what I've been hearing, what Sony plans on doing, it's going to change the gaming industry, and they're going to be absolute mad lads if they can pull this off. They want to make a PS5 Pro because they want to make a PS5 they want to make a PS5 Go. They want to make a PS5 portable console. They literally want to put the power of the PS5 in a portable console. And from what is going to happen with AMD, it is extremely possible that this can happen. May not be as powerful as a base PS5, but it'll be so close that they won't have to, like how you said, change up their they don't have to change up their console. What's the thing I'm trying to use? Like the games, like PS5 games will be able to easily run on this portable.
Right.
You know,
it sounds in a way. I feel like the Steam Deck is kind of like maybe a trial run. Like, can they actually have a reasonably running, portable console that actually can play AAA games? And not like backported low res version of AAA titles from like 3 years ago. Kind of like the Switch.
Because from everything that I was hearing, rumors that and it's true, they were watching the sales, the pre-orders of the Steam Deck extremely closely. And I was like, why would they be watching that? And now, what I'm hearing, they want to make a portable PS5. And it's very possible. Because right now, the PS5 is on 7 nanometer. Next year, the PS5 Mini is going to be on 6 nanometer. And then after that, the PS5 is supposed to be going to 5 or 3 nanometer. So they could literally so the PS5 Pro is going to be a 5 nanometer console. It's going to be on 5 nanometer. That's how they're going to be able to basically double performance at the same size of the PS5. But what they're going to do with that 5 nanometer chip, they can put relatively close performance of the PS5 in a mini portable console. And the thing about what we're hearing about 5 nanometer is going to run so cool. Because remember what I told you about this goes back into last week, the 6600 XT. The 6600 XT is able to play games at 1080p Ultra, 144 frames per second, at laptop voltage, at 130 volts. That's laptop voltage. You know what I mean? So, and that's at 7 nanometer. So if they're able to die shrink it down to 5 nanometer, they'll probably able to get that thing down to about a 50 volt thing. You know what I mean? It probably won't be able to play 1080p 120 when it's not connected to a charger, but when it's off the charger, it could probably play 1080p 60, 1080p 70, and play all the games you want, God of War and everything, and it's really interesting to see that Sony is not done with portable just yet. They actually do want to go back into the portal industry. And with these pro consoles, another main reason why they're making the pro consoles is because PC parts are about to make a massive jump. Remember I told you how the next gen is about to be ridiculous with this 7900 XT and the 4090. PC consoles don't want to be too far behind. Sony and Microsoft doesn't want to be too far behind PC anymore because they don't want to lose market share. Because if you get too far behind PC, what will lead somebody to just say, you know what, I'll just bite the bullet and buy a 4070, you know what I mean? Right. And build a, because if it's 3 times more powerful than a console, yeah, it might be 3 times more expensive, but I'm still making, you know what I mean? I'm still coming out just fine. So that's why Sony and Microsoft sort of have to make a pro version of their console.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it can definitely entice people who are maybe they have the cash to either do that or do a gaming PC, and also they have on their side that thanks to crypto, like PC parts are stupidly expensive right now. So there definitely is, if you actually just want a game, the pushing towards the consoles, and you're right. They don't want to be out too far out away from what PC gamers are able to do, if for no other reason because they don't want to get pushed into the same low res ghetto that Nintendo sort of has been content to inhabit, because they can't win that fight either.
No.
So yeah, I could see. I mean, obviously there's going to be I think this is thanks to the Xbox 360's multiple versions of itself and the PlayStation 3's we've gotten to the point where, just like with patched games on consoles, now we're ready for patched consoles that they're the one you bought at launch isn't good enough at 3 years in. So
yeah,
it's I mean, I don't like it, but this isn't for me. To be honest, I'm too casual a gamer. As long as the thing plays the games that it's supposed to play, I'm good. So I don't need it. I don't need it to be FHD, not FHD, but HDR and all that. I don't need all that stuff.
I'm sort of the same way. I kind of don't like that that there's going to be a pro version of the consoles, but it's just they kind of have to do it because, like I said, PC performance is beginning to ramp up again. They're beginning to get really powerful and fast. I'm gonna just say, in today's day and age, if you want to be a gamer, it's going to cost you a little bit more than you once thought. Things are going up in price. Performance costs a lot of money. These chips are not getting any cheaper because we want more performance as gamers, you know what I mean? Going to the price difference between 7 and 5 nanometers is going to be very, very different. They're going to be very expensive. Like I said, these parts are not getting any cheaper. Labor to make these parts are not getting any cheaper because it's getting to the point that these, you know what I mean? You're entering the microscopic realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is. I'm excited. I love tech. I'm excited for it. It gets to the point that, as me as a game developer and I'm into this stuff, it gets to the point that it's like, where does it end where we can just put something in there and it'll work? Because it gets to the point that you gotta. I can see how this could really piss off some people who, worked really hard to get the PS5.
Well, here's a real question: do they really want to get to the point where they're repeating the whole N64 memory pack bullshit?
That's the thing. Like, that's the thing where it gets to the point that, in my opinion, I think that next gen, when the PS5, the PlayStation 6, or the Xbox Series, whatever comes out, make it stupid powerful. Make it stupid powerful. Maybe make it a little bit more expensive than it needs to be, but at least you will know it will last the whole gen instead of cutting corners. Because one of the main things that's the problem with these gen consoles, everything else is fine in it. One of the main problems that I've heard a lot of people talk about that is 100% true, that I wish Sony and Microsoft just didn't skip out on, and it probably would have been fine. They probably wouldn't have to make pro consoles, is RAM. They only have 16 gigabytes of RAM in 4K capable consoles. 16 gigabytes of RAM is not enough if you want a game at 4K. Right. You know what I mean? So that alone they should have tried to just put 8 more gigabytes of RAM inside of your RAM is cheap, guys. Just put 8 more gigabytes and have it at 24. You guys would have been fine, but they skipped out on it's 16, and now I see gaming at 1440p. You use a lot of RAM. You're using 10 gigabytes of RAM gaming at 1440p. Right. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that is just like, I'd rather them next gen just make the console stupid powerful. Yeah, it might be $600, but at least you know that this console will last you the gen. And really, to be honest with you, I really feel that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 is more than enough. But it's just, they're kind of stuck in a hard place.
They're you know, the technical stuff aside, a lot of all of this is also psychological. It's the way a lot of this is playing into the way the hardest of hardcore gamers who open their pockets for this shit all the time. You know, you're kind of playing them to their need to have the biggest and best and all that. I mean, it's not necessary, but you know, we're gonna get it. But we'll see. This seems like, but these are just like, you know, rumors floating around. So I think the only way, real quick, I think the only way that I see this PS5 Pro and Xbox Series Z worth to buy if they can do 4K 120. If they cannot do 4K 120, do not buy it. It's not worth it. Right. If they can't do it, don't buy it. Yeah,
it's not worth it.
Well, I don't suspect we'll see this anytime before next year, the end of next year anyway. So it's probably probably talking about a year and a half away if they do it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll keep you guys up to date on any Pro or Series Z developments that may come forward in the future. So sort of related, but not really. Sort of. Let's talk about Intel throwing its hat in the ring in the graphics card arena. Which, I find it weird. I don't know why I find this weird, but Intel didn't make a play for NVIDIA or something like that. The way that AMD went and got the whole Radeon situation. I don't know. But it seems like they're interested in making a play for making a play for the graphics card segment, and the Intel Arc series of graphics card seems to be their answer to the current gen of graphics cards. So I'm gonna just read what you wrote just because I think it's funny. Could the once evil what's all this once stuff you're talking about? The once evil Intel save the PC gaming market. Let's not remember, Intel was pretty bad at one time. Yeah. They more or less cornered the market, and if it wasn't for AMD just being like, you know what, we're just going to stand in the pocket here, take a lot of hits for many years, and then just slug it out. And eventually they toughed it out and actually started releasing, CPUs that were comparable and then even superior in some ways. And then they got the Radeon brand. So then now they're hip deep in graphics stuff too. So yes, maybe Intel's not quote evil like they were before, but they're still not great.
Yeah, it's more of it's like everybody prayed because the evil king Intel was on the throne. Then everybody prayed for AMD to come onto the throne, and AMD came on the throne. They're not a bad king. AMD is a good king, but they're taxing the hell out of everyone. Taxes went up. You're not being starved. You're eating, but taxes have gone up.
And Intel's like, you remember when I was just the dictator of everything? And like, I do remember that shit. And y'all's CPUs were stupidly hot. And like there was a lot of
you were able to buy them.
In other words, competition is good. So
yes, competition
to that end, Intel coming in and saying, hey, we're gonna do graphics cards too. So what's up? I'm for it. Mm-hmm. I have to be honest, I'm not totally up on all of the technical stuff that's going on here. My question is this going to be a viable alternative to AMD or NVIDIA and what they're doing graphics card wise? Because it's going to be some years before I build a new PC, and I want to know, is this going to be a viable alternative to those two other manufacturers?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say this one thing that Intel has over AMD and NVIDIA is the name of their graphics cards, which are way better than these stupid number names. Have you seen their names? It's actually pretty cool. Their highest level card is called the Alchemist. Their next one is called the Battle Mage. The third one is called Celestial, and the fourth one is called Druid. Kind of gives you like flashbacks to D&D and Pathfinder, huh?
Right. And their entry level card is first level mage with magic missile.
Magic missile. It turns out the person who is ahead of the Intel graphics division is a massive D&D nerd. Like,
are you telling me an engineer is a D&D nerd? I can't believe it.
So what's so cool about these graphic cards is that, of course, like I said before, Intel is sort of like cool to pick on right now. It's trendy to pick on Intel because Intel kind of has not been making, I won't say they've made a bad product, but they've made products nowhere near as good as AMD, and people are just crapping on them. And I won't say deservingly so, but Intel does needed a wake-up call. And I've talked before in the last one about how Alder Lake is coming to change the game with their CPU coming out. Now we got the Intel Arc, their graphics card. Intel Arc is supposed to be around the performance of between a 3070 and a 3080. So a lot of people think they're putting in the ballpark of a 3070 Ti or 6800. So, a lot of people say, they laugh at it because those graphic cards came out last year, and they're like, oh, their top graphics card is only that powerful. And what I say to that is that it took NVIDIA and AMD generations to get to this level of performance. Intel's first graphics card is as powerful as their mid/top of the line card. Like, I'm 100% sure AMD and NVIDIA are watching Intel very closely. And the main reason why I really feel that NVIDIA, especially NVIDIA, is watching Intel, because what is NVIDIA known for? NVIDIA is known for their compute performance on their graphics card / compute, ray tracing, all that stuff. But let's just be honest, guys. A lot of people say Intel is, it's one of the things that I always feel like this. I know this graphics card is going to be good because because Intel's been doing graphics on APUs for about a decade now.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing.
What, by that you mean they've been doing integrated? They've been doing integrated graphics for like much longer than that. I remember, 20 years ago, to show my age, they were doing Intel integrated graphics, and they were trash.
Yeah,
they were trash, but they existed.
Yeah, they existed.
Yeah, so they sort of know something about it.
Yeah, they know, but they're able to do stuff on these APUs. So, from a engineering sample that got leaked out, it turns out that this graphics card, its encoding and ray tracing performance are on par with a 3090. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how Intel is doing it. They know some type of, like graphics card mojo jojo. How in the world did they get a graphics card that is supposed to be the power of a 3070 Ti or 6800, but has the encoding just to quickly overview what I'm talking about encoding. Encoding has nothing to really do with gaming performance. Encoding has to do with, editing videos, rendering things like what I do with game development, mining, ray tracing performance. I'm trying to think of stuff. A lot of things that the graphic card does that is not gaming. Really, just not really with gaming. And it's, like I said, for its encoding performance to be on the par of a $1,500 graphics card. And the rumored price of this card is supposed to be $450. I know a lot of people are not going to buy it when it first comes out. I'm buying it. I'm buying it just simply to support Intel, because we need this. We need somebody to come into this market right now, because right now this market is getting out of hand. AMD and NVIDIA have literally hijacked this market and it just ran away with it. And like I said, gamers pay for it, but at the same time, AMD and NVIDIA are not hurting. They lie to us and say, oh, there's a shortage. It's so hard to get these parts, but they're making triple profit than they did last year or 2 years ago. Man, they're lying like crap. Man, they ain't lying. They are absolutely lying.
And my question is, do you think this can apply downward pressure on card prices? Because it's mining and all this other stuff you're talking about that's not actual gaming is exploding the prices of graphics cards. And so I don't think that's going away anytime soon, unless there are, they're starting to make laws and stuff about mining, whatever. But more competition, you would hope, would be, one way to push those prices back down to more reasonable territory. In particular, and we were talking about this last week about, the death of mid-range or budget gaming. And I would like to see them actually commit to making it possible to have a budget gaming PC and not feel like you're playing an Xbox 360. So, do you think that's likely?
So, this is my opinion on it. I'm not saying that this card is going to just magically fix the market, but I really do feel that it's going to make a massive dent. Maybe not initially, but it's going to start making a massive dent in AMD's and NVIDIA's margins, to where they have to lower their prices. Because let's just think about this. Someone like me, we have a podcast. And there's not just other people. There are other YouTubers that are excited about this card. They get this card, they review it, because I'm going to buy this card. I'm going to buy this card when it first comes out. I'm buying it when it first comes out, and we can definitely do a review on it on this channel. I'll tell you about how it works. We can, other people are going to buy it. YouTubers are going to buy it that have bigger followings than us. They're going to buy it, review it, and then they're going to be like, hey, this is actually a really good graphics card. And they have millions of followers. If just 10%, like for example, Linus Tech Tip has 30 million subscribers. If just 10% of his subscribers, which is what is that? The 300,000? Yeah. If just 300,000 people bought that card, that is a win for Intel. You know what I mean? And this is what the thing that they're hoping for. Get this card out and let people see it. You know what I mean? Let people buy it. And I really feel that just if they're top of the line, if, like, for example, like I told you, this card has had the gaming performance between a 3070 Ti and a 6800. So basically, it'll be able to play any game at 1440p, even 200 something hertz, 200 FPS, and it'll be able to play at 4K 80 or 4K 90. Any game you want, it'll be able to do that. Constantly, more and more people are going to get their hands on this card, and then more people are going to be like, hey, this card is actually good. Y'all should buy it. And first of all, there's going to be the first couple of people that are going to buy it because they want to get anything. And of course, the scalpers are going to come around and try to scalp the card, which I'm just going to be honest with you guys. If you're trying to scalp this card, don't do it to yourself, please. For the love of God, don't do it to yourself. The reason why is because Intel is not AMD or NVIDIA. They actually make their own fabs. So you're literally gonna look stupid. It's like the people who tried to scalp the 11900K when it came out. I was like, yeah, this is not gonna end well for them. Because the next week it was right back in stock. Because Intel is a massive company. They're bigger than AMD and NVIDIA. They literally have their own fabs that make their own chips. So they don't need TSMC. They go to TSMC to help also make some chips for them as well. But they don't just go to TSMC for the chips. They can make this stuff on their own. So don't waste your time on scalping this card. They're going to have a good amount of stock in for this card. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this card is going to make a dent. And like you said, Intel is probably okay with being the budget / somewhat enthusiast gamer card. They're probably okay with that for a little while because they're not going to be able to catch up to NVIDIA, to AMD relatively soon. You know what I mean? They're going to be a generation behind for a little bit. You know what I mean? Because their next gen highest level graphics card might be on the par of the Game Informer over 3090. By then, the 4090 is going to be out. So, you know, their cards are always going to relatively be the budget, like the cheap enthusiast / budget gamer card. But we need this, man. Like I said, if their highest level card is $450, their lowest level card has to be what? 200, maybe 150. There needs to be something like this in the market because there are people who don't want to have a PC, a gaming console, which I understand. You know, they don't want that. They don't want to just plug up to their TV. Some people work from home. Right after they're done working on their PC, they just want to just straight up boot up a game without having to go to their living room or whatever. And I understand that. Couch gaming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand that. So there needs to be something like this. And hopefully Intel can provide it. And I'm very confident that Intel can do it because Intel, it's not like, let's be honest, this is Intel. It's not like we're talking about like this is freaking, they're going to figure it out. They're not like some company that just came out of nowhere. They're not like Amazon who's trying to join a gaming company that literally doesn't know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? Intel has been part of the gaming market for decades, longer than some of these people who are picking on them ever were in their dad's ball sack. Like, let's just be honest. They've been doing this for a very long time. So they know what they're doing. They got billions. They got very intelligent engineers working on this thing and testing it and making it work. I feel like this is going to work because I'm confident in Alder Lake and I'm confident in this. Hopefully it does work, you know. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm all for more competition. So hey, let's get these graphics cards cheap, dang it. But
yes.
I'm just tired of all this expensive ass shit. So
too damn expensive.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on Intel Arc graphics card series as they come out. We'll come back to that when they are being reviewed. So, all right, moving on. It's time for some inside baseball. And Ladi, this is really when I saw this article, I was really like, this is for you. This is definitely for you because of your video game aspirations and everything you've studied and all that good stuff. And I know you're creating things, so you're intimately aware of the fact that when you build a video game, you need a game engine.
Yeah.
And so, to long story short, there's an article here on PC Gamer called "Why the Games Industry Needs a New Engine." And it's about a company that's making a new game engine. Like, surprise, how many other companies are making a game engine too?
Yep.
But with the ones where, if you know anything about game engines, usually you know stuff like, Unity or Unreal. And then, what is it? I'm trying to remember.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, I know there's more. Yeah, the Cry engine. There's a bunch. And they're all, some of them are general purpose, but mostly they do some things really, really well. So the idea here is that this company is made up of, people who used to work at other game companies, and they've worked on game engines before, and they want to make a modular game engine.
Thank God.
To take out some of the work that developers have to do to retrofit, like the Unreal or Cry engine to do what they want. Yeah, to do what they want. So the idea here is that, instead of having an engine that's highly tailored towards certain kinds of games, you could just have an engine that you can drop in modules that would make it more, suitable to first-person shooters or real-time strategy games. And you can, as a game developer, you can even write your own modules that just, you slot it into the engine itself. And so you have this proprietary engine that you can use other people's modules. You can make your own mod. You don't have to go in other words, and take the source code, strip out all the crap you don't want, and then, write custom stuff. And in a sense, you're taking a car, taking all the parts out you don't want, putting all the parts you do want in, and you end up with like a car that's not quite the car you started out. And so, I'm not going to pretend like I know all of the technical ins and outs of it. I do understand how much labor is involved in. And they even say in the article, 6 months to retrofit it to do stuff you want, which is a time where artists are not, and even people who are actually trying to make code the game itself aren't doing any work, but it beyond drawing stuff and talking about decision trees, etc. So with all that said, you are more familiar with this sort of thing. So you read this article. What was your take on their idea and their particular product that they're trying to get out there?
If there was a holy Bible for game development, you can tell they read it, because a lot of people don't know this, that majority of the time that people spend on game development is literally, like you just said, retroactively just trying to get things to work again on this stuff. Because one of the things that happens, especially when a game development takes so long, they have to go into the next gen, the game devs are like, well, we were working on this game with this hardware and stuff. Now we have to start working on this new hardware. Some people think it's just a switch. I'm like, no, it's not that. Game development is not that. It's like, honestly, it's like, imagine, just because like I said, the PS4, the PS5 might have things that are similar, but they're two different consoles. They're not the same console. It's not the PS4 Pro. The PS4 Pro and the PS4 are the same as that console. Just one is more powerful. The PS5 is a completely different console. And this is one of the things that, Sony has a little trouble of bringing PS3 games to PS4 and PS5. Because it's just, the architecture is different. And same thing with, the engine. Because that's one of the things that Unreal, I saw Unreal is doing a little bit of a better job, because a lot of people, they were scared when Unreal Engine 5 came out that they were going to have to basically start all over. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Unreal Engine 4 is extremely inefficient. It's an extremely inefficient engine. It is. I can't tell you the headaches that I had trying to use Unreal Engine 4. Like, see, okay, like in Unity, if I move let's just say, one of my characters into the file within Unity, within Unreal, I move the character from this folder to the other folder. Unity would just be like, oh, okay, so we just see that you're trying to change the address of this one character in there. Boom. Unreal is like, you can't do that, but we'll do it for you. So we're going to have to completely organize each folder from top to bottom. And I'm not lying to you.
Right.
it's that like it's just inefficient, man. And it's just to see that these game developers are seeing the problems that happens when it comes to game development, man. Because like I said, most of the time that game developers are honestly, man, like a game that takes 4 years to make, I'm telling you, they're only really doing true game development maybe a year and a half. The rest of the 2.5 years, they're just trying to get the thing to work on the on the hardware and on the engine, man. That's a real talk. That's one of the games will come out. I'm telling you, games will come out a lot faster if they didn't have. This is sort of why, another reason why I'm not giving an excuse. I'm not giving EA an excuse. But it's one of the reasons why EA just copies and pastes Madden every year. Because it's such a hassle just to redo the game from the beginning. I understand that. It's laziness. They're getting $60 and they should work harder. I completely agree with that. But at the same time, it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's not something that you can just flip a switch and do. That's why it's like Call of Duties that come out every year. A lot of people don't know. You know why Call of Duty is able to come out every year? Because they got 4 different teams working on Call of Duty games. Like honestly, this Black Ops Call of Duty this one that came out last year, I think it was being worked on all the way back in 2017.
Oh man, that's just weird. I know, because again, I'm not completely up on the whole process, but it just kills me that the turnaround on a video game is shorter than the turnaround on a big Hollywood blockbuster. Like in the time it took them to make, as you're saying, it took them to put out the Call of Duty that came out last year. They literally released 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, two gigantic Avengers movies came out in that same time. That's yeah.
Yeah, man.
But I understand that it's very technical. I get that. That's just like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, man. Compression, all this stuff, man. It takes, man. Game development is not as easy as a lot of people think.
This is the thing. I don't think anyone thinks. To be honest, average people, like I know how to program and stuff. But I understand computer programming. I understand all that stuff. It's not that I don't, but to me, a lot of it's very opaque, simply because it's much deeper level than I was ever trained as far as programming is concerned. And the other thing is that most people, the average person that plays a game, they just don't think too hard about that. They know that some smart people with skills that they don't have make numbers and letters come together until they get to play Madden. That's what they know about it. So I don't think anyone doesn't, know that. The thing is that sort of, I have to say, you game developers are sort of victims of your own success, because you are very good at making it not obvious how much work it really goes in. When you put a Madden out every single year, people don't think hard that it can't be that hard. It comes out every year.
And you just said a mouthful, man. And this is one of the things that frustrates me about the gaming industry so much, that they really need to change this. But I understand, because let's just be honest, who are the people who are in charge of the gaming industry? A bunch of nerds that probably don't have good social skills or anything. That they're so quiet. Like, some people don't know that it takes hundreds of people to make a AAA game. Some people think it's only 10 people in a room in front of computers typing all day. They don't know there's hundreds of people. Like, those credits, every single one of those names worked on that game. They're just not just random people, and they spent hours working on that game. And the game, unlike the movie industry, is now, you're starting to see the movie industry is opening up. You're hearing from Kevin Feige himself with Marvel. You're hearing him talk. Like, you know what I mean? You're hearing Zack Snyder, these big time movie directors, these producers, these actors, you hear them talk about what they go through to make these movies happen. The gaming industry, you don't even, like, the only people that you know are like Shigeru Miyamoto, because Shigeru Miyamoto's been doing it for so long and we've seen his picture so many times. We don't know who, like, most people don't know who's the head of Sony. Most people don't know who's the head of Microsoft now. Most people don't know who's the head of EA or these big time companies, because they're so quiet. They don't want to talk.
Well,
they keep their industry so locked in.
They don't want to talk for a reason. There's a good reason why the games industry doesn't want to reveal how much work goes into it, because it'll be revealed that a lot of their practices, their employment practices, their workplace practices are bullshit, and it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of exploitative crap that goes on. And it's. I mean, we don't need to dive in that. That's not really what this is about. But I understand why they don't talk about it, because it will make them look like trash. So that said,
yeah, that's true.
That said, as far as this engine is concerned, is it solving problems that you have yourself facing? You think that it would fill a need that the industry kind of needs?
Yeah, and I feel like this engine is not going to help big time developers, because there's nothing they can do to get into the top industry probably for a very long time, because they have a lot of these gaming companies have signed contracts for like the Unreal Engine for years to come, Cry Engine, right. RE Engine, you know what I mean? Some of these people are just signed into these contracts. What this
and I'm going to say the other thing is that not just that, they have lots of in-house expertise on how to work with these engines. So they've already kind of invested into whatever it is.
It's not going to help AAA, AA, or single A games. But what this is going to do is going to change the game for game development when it comes to teaching, when it comes to learning about game development and indie game development. Because one of the problems with indie game development is that indie gamers, we want to make big, cool looking games. But the problem is some of these engines are so difficult to work with that you just can't do it by yourself. Like, that's why whenever you hear these stories about game developers that are literally developing the game by themselves, what does the game look like? It's usually a 2D game. You know what I mean? That the guy definitely see somebody could spend about 1,000 hours developing that game. But some game like me, like, I want to create a 3D kind of high godlike combat game, but I'm not going to be able to do it truly on my own, because the amount of work that I have to do to get it to work, and it's not because to make a game look that well is hard. The way the game engines are, for it to run well, it is hard. Like, I'm gonna give you a great example. One of the best character development software right now is Character Creator 3. And Character Creator 3 is, like I said, it's an amazing software. It allows you to create any character you want in 4K, stunning 4K, and you can put them in Unreal or in Unity. But the problem with Unity only supports Character Creator in their 2019 version. It's almost 2020. You know what I mean? And they haven't updated nothing. And Character Creator this is not some bootleg 3D rendering software, 3D character development software I got. This is what big time gaming companies, when I took interviews, a lot of these gaming companies were surprised that I have this software on my computer, because it's a big time character development software. And Unity only supports it in their 2-year-old versions. That's a disgrace. Unity, what are you doing? Do you not want people to make good stuff on on your platform. What are you doing? Tighten up. You know what I mean? And it's just as sad that that's something that we face as indie developers when we get these softwares that we want to use to help us in game development. These engines sometimes like, oh, we can't see it. You need to do something to help us see it. You know what I mean? And it's annoying. It's so annoying that I'm happy to see that these people hear our cry and want to help. You know, they're a godsend.
Yeah. Well, I think is like I'm always for more competition, but like I like the idea of like kind of democratizing the industry, making it a little less dependent on the big the big engines or anything like that. And so because I part of the thing is like when it comes to game development, how many people really have the time or inclination? Maybe they're just artists, maybe they have a story, maybe they have a good idea for a game and they're not the greatest technically, and make it a little easier. Just make it a little easier for people to make
yes
just
yes please.
That's my only thing. Like the more voices, the more creativity, the better. So if this can help facilitate that, let's do it. Let's go. So but we're and let me remember the name of these people. We're sitting up here talking about their thing. It's called the machinery. So we hope that the people that are developing machinery they continue on, so we can see more good things from them in the future. So, well, moving on to our next our next item, which is a fun little bit and just a little short detour away from all this technical talk, to just kind of give a shout out to a fan game, which is a Sonic Riders, which a game I haven't played. I'm not gonna lie. I do like Sonic. I just have never played this game. But a game called Sonic Riders from back in the day has gotten a fan remake. Which I think it's in the early stages, but it has about like 5 levels and everything. So it comes to you. I think it's called Sonic Riders X. And it's the Sage 2021 like festival. So it's basically people who are fans of Sonic. They get together and make games or whatever, and kind of put them out. So there is a demo available that you can find online. If you just look for that, it's all Sonic Fans of SonicFanGamesHQ.com. You can find it there. And also, if you look it up on YouTube, you will also find people who are playing this demo. And so I got a chance to look at some playthrough video, and you got a chance to look. What did you? You got a chance to look at it. So, let's just talk about this. I know you've played the game, so you actually probably have more insight than I do. My personal opinion is it looks pretty good. I think it looks good. I don't know how it plays, but it seems to be like very much in the vein of what was it? Sonic Heroes. That was one of the last ones I remember playing, where you could the little bits where you skate on rails and all that fun stuff. It looks like it probably there are some bits where I think the physics look a little weird. It doesn't seem to. Forward momentum doesn't seem to be conserved quite as well as I expect it to be. I'm sorry, not conserved. You know how you're always pressing forward, so you always expect forward momentum. It doesn't quite seem to do that on jumps and everything. There obviously are some glitches and bugs, and some weird places where weird places where you can fall through the world. But that said, it's pretty impressive for a fan game, and if it delivers something close to the original experience, it's a triumph as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So if we had cameras, face cams, and you could see me right now, you'll see me holding up the original Sonic Riders. I still own this game to this day, and I literally just took it out of my GameCube. I love Sonic Riders. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Bought it day one. Love Sonic Riders. It is so... This is one of the few like spin-off Sonic games that is so Sonic. You know what I mean? That 90s. Because you remember what was really big back in the 90s when when I was a kid and you were pretty much a teenager. Tony Hawk. You know what I mean? This was like that, mixing that two super 90s things together. Tony Hawk, Sonic, and adding the Sonic vibe to it, making it a little bit more futuristic. And they made Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders was a great game. Loved it. Beat that game so many times. Absolutely loved it. It was, like I said, it's one of those few Sonic games that actually got it right. See, the thing about it is, in this game, you're always moving forward. There's no like actually pressing forward. As soon as you take off, you're always moving forward. You can slow yourself down by braking, or you can completely brake and you'll be standing still, but there's no like holding forward. It's just you're moving forward. And I saw some of the gameplay. Yeah, there's some things they have to fix in it to make it just like the last one. One of the things that I noticed, because the whole thing about this game is quote unquote air. Air is sort of like gas. Your board runs on air. Whenever you do certain things like doing sharp turns eats air. If you boost, it eats air. Just moving eats air, but it doesn't eat as much. So you have to conserve your air. You get air back by doing tricks. For Sonic's special move in the game. It's not Sonic. Anybody who was a speed type, which was Sonic, Shadow, Jet, who was one of the characters in the game. There was a robot and a few of the guest characters. They were speed characters. They can grind on rails and replenish air that way. Then you have flight characters like Tails. They can go through those little rings. Those little rings you saw? They can fly. They can go through those and fly through the level and basically take shortcuts. Just like the grind road. The grind road will lead them to a shortcut. Then you have the power characters that are like Knuckles. They basically punch through stuff. They punch through what are I'm trying to like? There's certain obstacles that'll be in their way, and they'll punch through it, and they gain air that way. And it's just learning each level, because some levels in the game are tailored. Like, for example, there's some levels that are tailored for speed characters, where the best shortcuts in the level are speed characters, and there's some levels that are tailored for flight, where the best thing to use is flight. And there's the levels which are, those levels are so hard. The levels that are tailored for power characters, because if you're not a power character, running into those obstacles will literally knock you off the level. You know what I mean? And it's just, I love this game. I'm happy to see it going the way it's going, and just to see, one of the things that I just love about Sega, and I really think Nintendo really does need to take a book out of this, because Sega allows their fans to show their love and appreciation for games by doing stuff like this, recreating their games. And then, you know what I mean? Like, so Sega, they're not afraid to say, hey, you actually make a great game. Like, Sonic Mania was created from the best Sonic fan game creator. He made Sonic Mania. And I really think that Nintendo really needs to take a page out of this, because there's a couple of cool, fan games that people make for Mario, and Nintendo just comes in like a wrecking ball and just says, no, cease and desist. And I think they really need to just sometimes take a seat back. They're not trying to make money off of this. You know what I mean? I can understand if you're trying to make money, that's legal action. But they just want to just show their appreciation for Mario and show a little bit their appreciation and just clean up the game and make it look a little bit better.
But if you do that, then no one will buy Mario 64 for the seventh time on yet another platform. So, I mean, and remember, it's that Mario 64 is going to be just an emulated version of it. There's nothing going to be special about it. They're not the barest minimum of effort. So, now I get what you're saying. Like, you know, I you know, kind of Nintendo. They're Nintendo. Sega, maybe they're going to take a little more hands-off approach to it. Because to be honest, can I be honest? They have a tough time keeping Sonic relevant. Like, it helps with this. It's mainly because they don't have a platform that constantly pumps out stuff. So they keep having to make bad Sonic games, and then licensing him to, you know, be an Olympic, you know, second placer to Mario. You know, they have, of course, the movie, but this is, you know, more press is better than no press. So when something like this happens, it's just good for the brand in general.
But, you know, to be honest with you, what's really, you know what kills Sonic games? What's killing Sonic is not Sega. It's Sonic fans. Sonic fans don't know what the heck they want. Sega listens to their fans more than any other company. And every Sonic game that you've seen, it is exactly what fans ask for. And then they get it, and they're like, oh, I don't want this. Like, that's what it's like, for example, real good example. Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces is exactly what fans wanted. To create a deviant character. Because, you know, one of the things that you can do in Sonic Forces is create your own character. This is the Sonic fandom paradise. They can make their deviant characters an actual thing that you could play in a video game? What? You know what I mean? Everything that they wanted. But guess what? They rated it bad. They gave you what you wanted. Why are you not happy?
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I think that is really the problem with when you make things, is listening to the fans. Cause
don't listen to the fans.
Don't ever listen to the fans. That you can listen to them after they experience whatever you make, but you know, you trying to cater to the fans is one sure way to like screw yourself over.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Like, I've say this about, you've heard me talk this about movies, so let's be clear about this. If the fans knew what the hell they were talking about, they would be making video games. Yeah. It's just that simple. If they knew what was good, they can know after the fact when they experience something whether or not they think it's good. But if they actually knew ahead of time what was good, they'd be making video games. But they don't. So take their advice with a grain of salt, because you know also take their advice with a grain of salt. Take their advice with a grain of salt, simply because the people that make the most noise on Twitter and online aren't necessarily representative
of the fans. They're
all
the idiots.
Of the fans of all the marketplace. So like, maybe don't listen so much to those people. I mean, I'm telling you that while I talk about this thing on a podcast with my friend.
Yeah.
So, but you know, you know, if I knew what I was talking about, maybe I'd be making a Sonic the Hedgehog game. But you know,
I would do one right now if I had Sonic's model. If I could get my hand on Sonic's model, 3D model, I would be making a Sonic game. Real talk.
Well, you
just haven't been able to get one yet.
Just contact the person that made this thing.
Yeah, I'll see. Yeah, that's real. That's real. I do need.
Or you know, maybe get on this team. Like, I can do this too. So, I think it's pretty cool though. You know what? Like, more fan stuff. There's been a lot of cool fan stuff, like that GoldenEye thing that was done in Far Cry 4 or 5 or something. Somebody did a GoldenEye remake. Cool. So there's a lot of dope stuff going on in the fan community. All I would say is, like, that's cool and all, but you know, maybe are you using it to build your resume, but maybe put some time into learning to make your own stuff too. That's a thing. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, that's real.
That all around, that's pretty cool. So you know, keep at it. I don't even know the guy that made this, but whoever that is, good on you, and keep at it. So finally, we're gonna get to the big boy item here. The one that I suspect you have the most to say about.
Yep.
And so, because I'm not super up on all this, I'm aware of what Game Pass is. I'm aware of. Sony has something similar. What is it called? PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now.
So essentially, it's a subscription service, and it's to play all you want. But every month there's a certain number of titles that you have access to, and you just basically can play whatever they are. You pay your monthly fee. It's sort of like I have what is it called, AMC A-list for movies. If I pay like $25 a month, and I can go see up to 12 movies a month, which is a deal when it comes. It's a real deal, actually, if you're a moviegoer. And I suspect that PlayStation Now and Xbox Game Pass are actually a great deal if you play a ton of games. And especially if you want to play relatively new games. So it's not like you have access to what GameFly used to do something like this before. So I don't even know if they still are around. But GameFly used to do something like this too, where you pay a monthly fee, but it was always access to like retro and crappy old games. So it wasn't like that great. So the issue at hand here is that the developers of the game Outriders, in their recent talk to their shareholders, said we haven't really been paid for the Game Pass deal, because according to Microsoft, we haven't made any money. And what is that? If something like that apparently was a fairly popular thing on Game Pass, and they still haven't made any money, so how is this a viable business model for the developers and for even Microsoft? And how is it that 3 million unique people playing the game doesn't amount to them actually getting paid?
Yeah.
And if this is a business model that they intend to keep moving forward, is it even sustainable for any real serious game developer to get involved with the Game Pass or PlayStation Now? So I think I've framed this appropriately. So Lottie, what in your mind is this going to ruin a bunch of game developers? And can they, now that they've already played this card, can they take it back?
So I compare Game Pass and Sony's approach to making games to HBO Max versus Netflix. Netflix constantly puts up new content on their thing all the time. Almost every week, every day, they put up constantly new content. HBO Max is not every so often, but when you get it, it's really good most of the time. So this goes into what goes back to what we were talking about with game development, that I really don't think people understand. I know what you're saying, some people know that there are people who make games, but they don't understand how expensive it is to make a game. Because, one of the things that people complain now about next-gen games, like Sony's charging $70 for their games. A lot of people are like, oh, Sony, anti-consumer, Sony is charging $70 for their games. But what they don't know is that the game devs and the gaming companies are thanking Sony, thank you for giving us money that we are actually being fairly compensated. Because I'm gonna just be honest, and let's just be honest here. Gamers are some of the most irrational and spoiled,
you can say
entertainment.
You can say
entitled entertainment consumer in the planet. Because everything else has gone up a lot. Consuming movies are expensive now. If you want to watch a movie when it first comes out, you got to spend almost $20. A top of the line movie. Music has gone up in music production. Buying music is not cheap anymore. All this stuff has gone. Everything when it comes to books, all this stuff has gone up. Games prices go up once every 15 years maybe?
I feel like every console generation they bump it up $10.
No, not really, because we were at $60 for the PS3 and the PS4 era. That was over. Right. That was 15 years. So, and then we were at $49.99 for what? About 15 years too.
But also during the NES, the Super NES, and era, there were $60 games.
Yeah, that was and
that was $60 and $90, not $60 today. So yeah, in effect, it's cheaper today than it was then.
Yeah. Well, what I mean by like the early 2000s, games were $49.99 for like what? All the way up to the PS3 era. So games, and I'm just gonna be honest, I will spend $70 on any Sony exclusive without batting an eye. Because you know why? Because I know I'm getting my money's worth. That, like, for example, I bought Ghost of Tsushima when it first came out at $60, and to upgrade it to the PS5 version, I have to spend $30. Some people are like, "Oh my God, you spend so much money." Worth every penny. I put in literally. So what? Let's just think about this. I spent $90 on that game. I put in 84 hours into this game, and I'm not done with the expansion yet. So by the time I beat that expansion, let's say I put 100 hours in. So that means I spent less than $1 an hour, and I've enjoyed every single hour of playing that game. Worth every penny. Same thing with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Same thing with Demon Souls. I will spend $70 for these exclusives any day. I do not need Sony to make a Game Pass. Do exactly what you're doing and give us quality games that these game devs realize that they're getting paid, they're getting their compensation for what they're doing. They're going to make their games worthwhile than playing for. One of the things, so let's go over to the Game Pass thing. A lot of my friends are like, Game Pass this, Game Pass that. You got to get Game Pass, you got to get Game Pass. What they don't see is that a lot of these games that are on Game Pass were games that were out a year or years ago. So they were getting the full game development treatment of $60 for everything, like Forza 4. Forza 4 came out in 2019, so it wasn't on Game Pass when it first came out. It was a game released on Xbox One, Xbox Series, Xbox One, PC, all that stuff. People were paying $60 for the game. You know what I mean? So they got the full development treatment. Doom, all these games that are being put on Game Pass now that people are enjoying, so you got to get Game Pass, they've already made their money. So they're not saying anything. They're not complaining because they're like, we've already made our money. You know what I mean? Having it on Game Pass is free advertisement for them. But the first AAA game, the first two AAA games to finally be put on Game Pass, what has happened? Outriders. They're not making any money. This is a $60 AAA game. Square Enix. This is Square Enix. They're not making any money. Because how can you make money off of a game that you can get Game Pass right now for $1? Play the game for a month and then unsubscribe. And you'll probably never go back to playing that game ever again. You just played $1. And let's say you only pay $15 a month. That's only what? Do the math. $15 a month. That's only what? $200 and something a year. You know what I mean? $200, $300 a year. That's when you really think about it, you're not making money. It's not sustainable. This is, and another game that is not doing well is MLB The Show. MLB The Show is made by Sony. MLB The Show is selling like gangbusters on Sony. People are buying the game for $60 because they know the game is worth it. Microsoft put the game day one on Game Pass. The baseball is pissed the ever living F off with Microsoft right now. Because that game is not being played on Microsoft. They basically gave it away on there, and they're not making any money from Microsoft's end. They are literally pissed off because they told Sony to make the game for Microsoft, and now Sony's who's making the game for Microsoft. Sony doesn't care because Microsoft had to pay Sony $200-something million, like $300 million, so they could put it on Game Pass. Sony doesn't care. They're selling their game like gangbusters. They're making their money. They're fine. It's the MLB who's losing money now because they're like, God, we wasted our time putting this junk on Microsoft. We should have just stuck with Sony. You know what I mean? Because Microsoft put it on Game Pass. People don't know Game Pass is not sustainable. And I'm telling you guys, I promise you, it's coming. They're going to increase the price of Game Pass. And you know why I know it? Because they already tried to do it earlier this year.
Right.
You remember that?
How much is it per month?
I think it's like 15.
That's,
hold on, let me.
Even if it is under 20, it's kind of. Look, I'm gonna put it into a frame that's.
Oh my God! Game Pass is only. It's only $10 a month.
$10 a month.
There's no way they're making money.
That's if you play games a reasonable amount, it's a steal. I'm put it into a slightly different, somewhat different context. But this is very similar across various kinds of entertainment. So like I said, there's the AMCA list that like I said, I pay $25 a month for that. To see up to 12 movies over the course of the month. That's a steal. I don't care. If you know how much things cost, that's a steal. I also subscribe to Audible, the Audible Pro, and so that's $15 a month. Now, I listen to audiobooks a lot, just at work, and so they have the included library. So this is just very similar to what we're talking about here, the Game Pass. But there's a library of things where your subscription gets you access to a certain number of games. You can play them to your heart's content or whatever, right? As long as you're subscribed. And so similar here, there's a certain library of books you can listen to as much as you want, as many of them as you want to. And they also have the added incentive. Every month they give you a credit so you can buy one audiobook. So for $15 a month, let me tell you, audiobooks are like, at the minimum, $20 each. At the maximum, you can spend $45 on an audiobook. So once a month, I can buy any audiobook. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Plus, I get access to other books. That's a steal. Now, you ask yourself, how the hell are they paying for this? Right? How are they making money doing this when it's just me making? And of course, it's economy of scales. Yeah, maybe, I pay $15 a month all year, right? But then how many millions of other people are like, this is a good deal, I'm going to do this. And how many of them actually listen to the books, all these books? How many of them are power users and how many are casual users? And they're still paying this $15 a month. They accumulate their little credits and all this other stuff. Or like me, where I'll buy stuff on sale for like the cheap. And I have not listened to one free for me book this month. Instead, I'm listening to books I've already bought, on sale at some time. So for the Game Pass, they seem to be going for economies of scale in the sense that the more there are, the more this makes sense. The only problem is the overhead cost of an audiobook. The overhead cost of an audiobook is just the cost of getting someone to read that. Or whatever. And that's it. And other than that, it's even with a movie, even the overhead costs,
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. You just said a mouthful because, some people who are listening to this will say, well, what about AMC and what you just said with the audiobooks? The price of making a movie has not gone up. Movies have been having $100 to $200 million budgets since I was a kid, man. Like, the original Transformers was what, a $200 million budget? That was 2007. It still will cost what, another $200 million still to this day, almost 20 years later. It's the prices of making a movie has not gone up because most of the time when they make these movies, what they're using is an actor, is a couple of actors. They're using live actors most of the time with these movies. actors and a few computers to do rendering, and they just sit them there, and they don't really have to do anything. They're just doing it. While when it comes to game development, every single one of those employees needs a high-end PC. And we just talked about how expensive these PC parts cost. You know how much it costs to get a professional graphics card? And NVIDIA's high-end graphics card, their high-end professional graphics card, which I am 100% sure all these gaming companies use, is $6,000. I'm pretty sure they can get it at a cheap, but what? That's still what? Maybe $4,000 a card.
Yeah. Give
that to 100 people. Well, how much you think that costs just for the graphics card? Let's not go into the server that they have to use. The PC parts alone are going to be expensive. Then the manual labor. This game, to create a AAA game nowadays, is 2 to 3 times the price to make both Infinity War and Endgame. Halo Infinite alone is using $500 million. Has already went through 500. That is more than what's the game? The movies I just said.
That's
Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Endgame and Infinity War combined. And this is just one game. And they're going to release that on Game Pass? You really think they're going to make that money back? No.
And there's another another wrinkle is when it comes to like something like AMC, they're not doing it because they think they can make a profit off the tickets, because movie theaters don't make profit off tickets. They make money.
They don't.
What they make profit off of is getting butts and seats and
selling snacks,
popcorn and drinks in hand. And so the more people come in, the more likely of course there'll be people that are like, I don't want any popcorn. But most people want that. That's where their money comes from. So they actually can make a profit at this. They actually, before the pandemic, they did start making a profit at it, in fact. But where's the profit in the Game Pass? Is there any, are they charging more for add-on things? Or are they maybe discounting the game so that, hey, I like this game, let me buy it at a discounted rate? What are they doing outside of just the subscription? Because the subscription is just to get butts on the seat, so to speak. What do you do after that to make money? And clearly not enough if this developer hasn't seen one payment from the parent company, because despite however popular it's supposed to be, it's not popular enough to pay the bills. Yeah. And so you have to wonder, like, what is the end game here for the publisher? I know what the end game is for Microsoft and Sony. They want more people to have their hardware, because when you have the hardware, you're probably going to buy games, right? Yeah. And so I get that. But what's the end game for the developers? What incentive is there to participate in such a scheme that isn't going to, defray your costs of development, much less give you any profit? And because you have to talk to your investors, and they want to know, where's our money? They gave you money. They want to know, where's our profits? Yeah. And you can't just like, well, we didn't really get any because Game Pass. They don't want to hear that.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear their money. And this is where I'm about to tell you what's going to happen. And it's 100%. This is true. Remember how earlier, probably didn't hear it, but last year Microsoft teased that they're bringing back Perfect Dark, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, we're getting a new Perfect Dark game, and it's going to be on Game Pass." So everybody's like, "Oh my God, we're so ready, we're so ready." Turns out it's going to be an episodic game. It's not a full AAA game, and this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you, this is exactly what's going to happen. See, what people are starting to see, a lot of these games that you see on Game Pass, I bet you, if you look up their release date, they've been out for a year plus. So these people have already made their money on either other platforms, or it's been out long enough that they've already made their money. So they don't care. It's like when Sony, they release a game for free. The game's already made their money. They're just re-releasing it for free so they can just get it out there so when the sequel comes out, people will be like, oh yeah, I played that game. Maybe I'll go buy it. I'll actually buy the sequel. You know what I mean? But what's the end game for like you said, what's the end game? I mean, we all know the end game for Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't really want to be into console development anymore. They're going to make consoles, but they want Game Pass on everything. That's what they want. They basically want to become the Netflix of games. And I really feel that this is what the things that I don't. If there was a world where one of them had to win and absorb the other, I will want it to be Sony, because I don't want to live in a world where games are being done like Netflix. Because let's just be honest, shows on Netflix are nowhere near as good as they used to be, because they constantly release stuff and they're giving it out like at this price that they have to lower the quality to make their money. So we're going to start seeing a bunch of games being released on Game Pass that is going to lower the quality. And who this really hurts are the indie devs. The indie devs have nothing to help them. They have no big company to back them up. If they're not making money, they're dead. And I really feel, this is what I feel like a lot of indie games are just going to look at Microsoft and be like, no, I'm not putting my game on your thing because you're going to put it on Game Pass. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want people to pay for my game. I worked hard to make this. I don't want people to, you know what I mean? Like this is one of the things that I'm telling people, man, it's going to happen. They're not keeping that thing at $120. They're going to find a way. They tried it once earlier this year. I know you remember that. That's why everybody's like, oh, there's no way Microsoft would do it. They'll never increase the price of Game Pass. I'm like, so you guys literally forgot that Microsoft tried to do it earlier this year? You just completely forgot that. You just completely erased from your mind. They're going to try to do it again. You really think that Microsoft is not going to try to do it again? This time, what they're going to do is they're going to force you to do it. I'm going to tell you exactly what they're going to do. You know how they're going to do it? They're going to have different tiers of Game Pass.
Makes sense.
I promise you, this is what's coming next. I promise you, this is what's coming next. If you want to play a AAA game on Game Pass, you're going to have to pay more. If you can still pay the $120 a year, but you're only going to pay indie games.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, that actually does make getting the Xbox Series X more attractive, because I'm a pretty casual gamer and I don't spend a ton of time doing it. But if it's $10 a month, just to be able to boot up some games, that's not bad to me.
But here's the one kicker: if it's off Game Pass, you can never play it again.
Oh, that doesn't bother me, because it'd be weird if I ever was going to play it in the first place. So I mean, I'm really the sort. I'm really, when I say I'm casual, I mean like the amount of hours I play a video game per week is, on one hand usually. But I still do like video games in general. When I do get into it. So I mean that doesn't bother me so much. In the same way that the fact that I spend a lot of time watching streaming. Well, I have Peacock. That doesn't mean that I spend much time on it, but it's nice to have it around. To have it available as an option. And $10 a month, that's not much. And yeah, I mean, maybe at some point I actually have to buy real video games. So,
it's really like Game Pass, in my opinion. It's really good for, like you said, casual game. Someone like me, a lot of my friends want me to get Game Pass. They're like, get Game Pass. Having a bunch of games doesn't appeal to me. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of people, they're just like, you could play all these games are on there. I'm the type of guy that I have a select few games that I play, and I play them quite often. I don't need a massive library of indie games, you know what I mean, that I'm never going to play. There's only 2 games on Game Pass that I want to play. Doom, which I own on both PC and PlayStation. That's a long story. I'll tell you later. And Horizon. But is that enough for me to pay $120 a month when I can get both games for $60? Because right now, even if I bought the games at full price at $60, which they're not, they're only $20. So you know what I mean? I can own the game. Like, that's the thing that I think that people don't truly get about Game Pass. A lot of these games that are on Game Pass that you guys brag about, I literally just bought the full edition of Doom with everything, all the skins. Doom Eternal. This game came out last year. All the skins, all the DLC, both DLC campaigns, everything for $20. You can't get that on Game Pass. You just get the standard game. So why would I need Game Pass? That's why I'm like, whenever my friends keep trying to tell me, get Game Pass, get Game Pass. All the games that you're telling me that are cool on Game Pass, I can get for $10-20.
Right.
No, that's not enough. $120 a month for games that I can get for cheap. Anyways,
$120 a year, but yeah.
I mean, $120 a year for games that I can get cheap. Because all the games that are on Game Pass, you can get cheap right now. Even Outriders that came out earlier this year, it's only $40 brand new. On sale, you can get it for $20. So it's like, what? Why? I don't care. No, I don't need Game Pass. You can get the games for cheap. Every game on Game Pass you can get for $20 or less.
Yeah. Well, I think that as far as the main topic's concerned, this is very concerning. It's not unsurprising to me. It sounds to me like the same way movie production companies and other people can get kind of screwed in Hollywood when you have a big blockbuster movie and somehow it still doesn't turn a profit because of the way they count everything. So I'm not surprised that this happened in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
And it's also like with music streaming. You would think, you sit and listen to songs on Amazon or Spotify or whatever, that the artist is really getting pizzade, but they're really not. They're getting cents, less than a dime per play. Which, if you're Taylor Swift, yay, but even that's kind of small to her. And if you're just some average local band that has a regional following, you're not going to make any real money. And if that is the model, then it only makes sense for developers to be like, nah, fuck that Game Pass shit. Maybe y'all can put our 5-year-old game that's got a small community, but maybe y'all can have that one to hype it up for the sequel. But nah, you can't have our AAA games that we spent 4 years on and millions of dollars to put out, because you aren't going to pay us back. We're not going to see any money from it, and whatever goodwill or advertisement or whatever bullshit they spin about why it should be on there, it's not worth killing a potential franchise, and just to make some really some, shall we say, entitled fans happy.
And I just want to make sure that the listener understands this. All the games that are owned by Microsoft, those companies are going to be fine. Microsoft is going to pay them. The games that are under, because EA signed a contract with Microsoft to put their games on Game Pass, they're going to be fine. They have a contract with EA. They're going to pay them. It's the third-party companies that have nothing to do with Microsoft or EA that are getting screwed out of this. And it's sort of like, it's like I said, it's like you said, streaming music. If you truly do support this company and you want to see them do good, this goes back to what I said about Days Gone. If you truly support this company and you want to see them keep making good games, buy the game at full price. just buy it at full price, guys. There's nothing wrong with it. I buy games at full price all the time. I bought Doom when it first came out at $60. Come on now. I bought Ghost of Tsushima, both that and the upgrade. Just buy it at full price. And then the company can do stuff for you because they're making money. Not all, I understand there are money grab companies that Cyberpunk, that you pay full price and they're gonna just screw you over. But when the game is good, buy it. Just buy it, guys. Just buy it. Just please, just help these people out because I'm a game developer now. Just buy it. You know what I mean? It really helps us out. It shows that you care and really do love our game, because playing something for free and saying you like it, anybody can like something for free.
Yeah.
But if you like it at $60 or $70, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that I feel like we covered that pretty well so far. So, and that is the final subject for the GamerCast for today. So, what did you guys think about all these various things we talked about? And what do you think about our commentary? You can always get down to the comments, let us know what you're thinking about. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And, maybe we missed something, let us know. We'd like to get in there, chop it up, talk about these games.
Mm-hmm.
And also, while you're in the clicking mood, why don't you get down there and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when we drop new content. We do that every week. We do a couple podcasts, do some reviews on the Super Not Funny Show. We'd really appreciate that. And, I couldn't do all this on my own. I needed all the expert advice and knowledge from my good friend Lottie. So, Lottie, why don't you let the viewers know how they can reach you on social media?
Hey, you can always find me at my Instagram page. It is Anu Kinihun. It's spelled ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. I post a lot of different pictures, short gameplay, videos, and like renderings of the character that I'm working on in my video game. And of course, you can also find me, watch some of the videos, longer videos, of course, in 4K, because Instagram, for some reason, still doesn't support 1080p in 2021. Get with the times, Instagram. If you want to see the videos in HD and, of course, 4K, you can always watch my YouTube channel. It's Kinihun25. Really easy to follow me. Just KINIHUN, the actual number 25. And you'll easily see all the videos and stuff that I post up there on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you guys get down there, show some love to Lottie. Like, subscribe, view, all that fun stuff. Drive them views up, y'all, and help a brother out. So, all right, well, this has been the GamerCast number 3. Oh, it's not number 3, number 4. I'm all off. It's been GamerCast number 4. Been talking about all these various things, and we're gonna come back next week, and there's gonna be because the train keeps a rolling, as they say. And we got a whole bunch to talk about next week in the world of video games, and I'm really looking forward to that. Then, so until then, I have been Mo Faith, your resident fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime enthusiast, the superhero expert, and of course, the video game designer, Lottie. Thanks again for joining us. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.